You're watching the Sports and Political channel of LB. If you're not subscribing to this channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and share these videos on your social media platforms. Let's get down to business. So, once again, the subject of Brett Favre has come into our midst. Last week, I told you about Ted DiBiase Jr., who was charged in his role regarding the welfare scandal that is played in the good old state of Mississippi. This week, we're talking about the judge's refusal to throw the case against Brett Favre. Coming from Mississippi Today, and the first major order in the ongoing welfare fraud case, Hinds County Circuit Court Judge Faye Peterson denied former NFL quarterback and Hall of Famer Brett Favre's attempt to dismiss the civil charges against him. Peterson also blocked Favre's request for a hearing on the motion, saying that it was unnecessary and calling his legal arguments unpersuasive and inapplicable. Mississippi Department of Human Services is currently targeting 47 defendants who it said it fraudulently transferred nearly $80 million in funds. That's the $77 million I kept telling you about the TANF, or the Temporary Assistance for Needy Families program. Now, Favre has argued that he never committed his own funds to build a volleyball stadium at the University of Southern Miss. The project eventually completed with $5 million in federal welfare funds, and that the state fully approved of the transfer. If, as MDHS falsely alleges, Favre was part of a conspiracy, it was the most public and open conspiracy in Mississippi history. It was directed and carried out by MDHS itself to transfer funds from one public state entity to another, Southern Miss, and it was vetted and approved by numerous lawyers and state officials. His attorneys wrote in his motion to dismiss. Peterson said in her motion on Monday that Favre's argument that MDHS failed to allege that Favre formed an agreement with anyone to do anything unlawful was without merit, effectively keeping Favre in the suit. Favre has not faced any criminal charges in the U.S. Attorney's Office parallel criminal case, which just saw the addition of former WWE wrestler Ted DiBiase Jr. last week. The judge also said that while Favre laid out a lengthy narrative with 300 pages of exhibits in his motion, under court procedure, she was not able to consider his version of facts. The order on Monday marks the first time Peterson, who wields great control over the trajectory of the civil suit, has directly acknowledged in a court filing that the state allegations of civil conspiracy and fraudulent transfers against Favre. Both claims stem from allegations surrounding his involvement with and dealings to secure funding for the construction of a brick and mortar volleyball facility at the University of Mississippi, or Southern Mississippi, as well as allegations surrounding his efforts to secure funds for pro-profit drug company, Pravacus. That's the company I told you about with his co-conspirator and co-defendant, Jake Van Landingham. Right? Now, specifically, the plaintiff alleged that Favre personally guaranteed funds for the construction of a volleyball facility at the University of Southern Miss, that he was unsuccessful at fundraising efforts. They conducted months of negotiation and backdoor meetings with other named defendants at the University of Southern Mississippi Athletic Foundation to procure funding, and that the funding came from tenant funds, and that said were used for non-tenant purposes, i.e. construction of the volleyball facility. Now, plaintiff further alleged that Favre, as the largest individual outside investor of Pravacus, engaged in similar meetings to assist in similar procurement of tenant funds that were then used to purchase stock in Pravakis, inconsistent with the lawsuit that tenant proposes. Now, Peterson has filed 32 orders in the civil suit, which MDHS initially filed May of last year. A Turho order Monday denying Favres' motion. Peterson had only issued procedural motions, such as granting time extension for defendants' file replies or allowed a defendant to use an out-of-state attorney. The judge also has yet to hold public hearings on this case. Several other defendants have filed motions to dismiss, including Pravakis and his founder, Jake Van Landingham, nonprofit founder Nancy New, her son Zach New, and Jess New, and their related companies. Nonprofit director Christy Webb, former WWE wrestler Ted DiBiase Sr., former football player and fitness trainer Paul Lacoste, virtual reality company Labaki, lobbyist and former state senator Will Longwitz, state contractor and former attorney general's office employee Nick Coughlin, and former welfare director's nephew Austin Smith. Peterson has not issued orders on their motions, and more often than not, their orders are going to get tossed out too. The fact of the matter is, there are a lot of people who were jolly behind, was eating good in the neighborhood when it came to $77 million of tenant funds. Now, I told everybody that this money had a whole lot of hands in it. There's a whole lot of people that was taking that money and eating good in the neighborhood. What's up, Big Wash? Salute to you, bro. There was a lot of people that was taking that money and was eating good in the neighborhood. Now, what really got Brett Favre's button to crack are those text messages. The text message I told y'all about ever since September of last year, when this thing first was in its embryo stages. Brett Favre tried to basically throw the rock and hide his hand. He basically tried to make it out to where these crimes and this scheme will go be conducted, and he was going to have no hand in that. He didn't want nothing to do with his name coming back being attached to this thing. But unfortunately for him, his hands is all over this shit. There's no way that Brett Favre can escape this. There's just no way. There's no way Brett Favre can escape this. I talked about the speaking engagements that he failed to show up for, and that he had owed like $200 and some odd $1,000 for that, right? We talked about the volleyball stadium. We talked about the text messages. We talked about his dealings with Pravakis, because Pravakis was the company that was making the drug that treated concussions. And eventually, Brett Favre was going to sell that drug to the NFL to make money off of it. Brett Favre's hand is all over this thing. Brett Favre's hand is all over this thing. And there's no way he's going to get out of it, whether it be on the civil side or on the criminal side. There's no way that Brett Favre is going to get out of this. Period. So we just got to see what happens with this. But this is the first move of many. And this situation here is far from over. It's far from over. So, like I say, I will continue to bang this drum home until Brett Favre gets charged, until he gets convicted, and until he gets time in the pokey, because he had no business taking that money. Neither him nor Ted DiBiase Jr. His daddy is not in the criminal suit, but he's definitely in the civil suit. So my thing is, how is he absolved from criminal charges? Right? Because his hands all up in this scam too. Nevertheless, you guys let me know what y'all think about this. Once again, Brett Favre motion to dismiss this case from a civil standpoint got denied by the judge. Now, if you're not subscribing to this channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and share these videos on your social media platforms. Last but definitely not least, shouts out to the LDBC. This your man. Scream at me. Hey!